Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honour. I'm partially flying solo, but Streets will be with us very soon. I am joined by heavyweight prospect USSR Steve Robinson. Now, anyone that comes to the ring listening to a Lion King tune, anyone that's got the Simba tat deep on the old tit. By the way, do you know what do you know what the act of Simbering is?
Me?
Yeah.
Is that am I allowed, a sexual act or a normal act?
Yeah, deeply
I know,
sexual act.
I know the sexual act.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Simba. Yeah?
Yeah, on the forehead.
Yeah. Ah, see, this is going to be all right. This is going to be all right. See, now, Steve. Obviously, I've got a question for you. Number one. Well, obviously, I understand where the Drago thing come from. Now, for marketing and publicity, would it not have been more memorable and more eye catching if you tried to be Clubber Lang?
Could be,
Yeah,
but
because like I reckon Boxer, I reckon they'd be quite stressed in the marketing department when you came out as Clubber, but overall, I think they would overall be all right with it.
I think it's a bit of a cliche, the whole Dolph Lundgren thing. I might do Club Lang next time. I might go for that one and
But
see
you got
what.
to commit all the way,
Yeah, yeah, full on, full
full,
on.
full.
Yeah,
I respect
definitely.
that. So, big man, you're 4-0, three knockouts. Like you looked wicked on that Sky Sports card the other
Thank
day.
you, thank you.
Like, how many people have you told that you were the main event? Because I would be telling everyone I was the main event.
I wouldn't take it away from Savannah. Listen,
Nah.
I appreciate even them putting us on at that time. And I was obviously, unfortunately, Lewis Ritson had an injury and pulled out, and I
Mm,
slipped into Lewis Ritson's slot. So it's funny because originally the original whole lineup was I was on at 7:30, who was going to be the first on Sky. Then it was going to be Huey Fury,
yeah.
Savannah Marshall, and then closing off the show. Sorry, Lewis Ritson.
Yeah.
But obviously, Lewis
So they had
stepped.
Ritson build above Savannah.
Lewis was going to be not Savannah was the main headline, and then Lewis
Right.
was going to be in my slot, just
Okay.
finishing off the show, just with it being a local lad, and I think it's more so just to keep the 11,000 people there,
Fact.
because obviously with Lewis and what have you. But fortunately enough, everyone seemed to have stayed for me, and the atmosphere was fantastic. And I was, as I say, I was fortunate enough to get that slot. Lewis was obviously unfortunate, but
Mm.
it played into my favour. So
How do you feel about it? 'Cause it wasn't really much of a. I mean, you nailed him and he went down, and that was that.
but yeah, but at the end of the day, in the press conference the day before, you
Yeah.
had said, "I'm coming out fighting," and I said, "Listen,
Fact.
perfect, fair play to you. Listen, he had everything to prove that night, and if he knocked me out and got the win,
Mm,
he's knocked out what I'm known as a prospect, and doors are going to open for him. So
for sure.
the fact he come out the fight, and the fact that he showed anyone that steps through them ropes, for me, is a warrior. I know what you have to go through in a camp. I know what you have to go through, mentally, psychologically, physically. So
Mm,
for me, when these boxers, I mean, I'm 4-0, three knockouts, but me third fight against Phil Williams. Honestly, anybody who watches that will just look and go, "Bah, he's shit," because it was a disgrace of a fight. Listen, if it had went 5 or 6 rounds, I know I would have stopped him. But
yeah.
unfortunately, in 4 rounds, with Phil Williams, he just covered up and just made us look shit, and it
Yeah.
was so frustrating. And so I would have liked the stoppage to have been 4-0 with four knockouts. But listen, fair play to him. He come out fighting, and
Yeah.
the stoppage come.
It must be much harder for the big men to have the learning fights because if you're a lightweight, a super bantam, even like a welter, even middle maybe is probably the cut off. Where all of the if you're a pro fighter, you're a pro fighter, and some of those like the professional opponent dudes, they're way better than what their records show.
Yeah.
They're day in day out. They are as good as anyone. They just have chosen to be on that side of the fence. And with heavyweights as well, I mean, let's be honest, if it's another 15, 16, 18 stone man, don't matter if he can punch or not, because it's just the sheer heft of it. It's dangerous for both of you.
Definitely. I mean, everyone sits and says Tyson Fury's not a big puncher and what have you, and you just have to
Come on
look at
now.
what he's
Come
done.
on.
19 and a half stone man, and what he's just done to Deontay Wilder over 2 fights. First one, he didn't. But the last fight, he just knocked him out cold. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, for not a heavy hitter, any 19 stone man putting his body into a shot, it's going to hurt. If he gets you in your pressure point.
In 10-ounce gloves. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like 10-ounce gloves, like, you know, anyone that does anything will more than likely be using 16s. Like, and a 10-ounce glove with, let's be honest, Tyson's all of 7 foot. Like, they have him, what do they have him as at 6'9"? He is
6'9", he's definitely,
fucking
yeah.
enormous, isn't he?
And he boxes tall, he boxes long, he doesn't stay. A lot of boxers, we're taught to come down, we're taught to sit on with shots. He literally boxes his full height. He keeps everything at distance. So,
Yeah.
anybody who's in that ring learns how to punch. Everybody knows how to throw a punch. Isn't the people hit harder than others? Of course they do. The denser and what have you. But it's irrelevant when you've got to, like you say, 14 and a half stone up to a 19 and a half stone man throwing a punch at your pressure points. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna go down. Your peripheral vision's gonna go. And once that vision's gone, and once you're blurred and what have you, you might be able to have a little bit of perception. But one more, two more, and you're gonna go down. You look at Ruiz and Joshua. He took a big shot at the top of the head, got back up, but he was never the same for 4 rounds, 3 rounds. No. He was gone for 3 rounds.
I mean, like for you, because you was a footballer before, right?
Yeah.
Massive footballer, like 6'7", 6'8" footballer. Sure.
In Hong Kong.
Was you as like, in Hong Kong?
In Hong Kong. So everyone thought I was Godzilla. Everyone just wanted photos with us. Of all places to have played football, it was in Hong Kong as well.
So you were a giant blonde Geordie in Hong Kong playing football.
Yeah. It was good. Honestly,
do you still have a title there? Are you still like Lord? Like you must have been the fucking king.
They've got Ocean Park, which is the biggest theme park in Asia. So when we travelled like 45 minutes ago, I couldn't get on one ride. Couldn't get on one ride. And then they've got Disneyland in Hong Kong, travelled there, couldn't get on one ride. The bars were just coming up to there, and it was a nightmare. Honestly, I felt like a freak. I feel like a freak in England, never mind Hong Kong.
Mate, that must have been quite nice though, no? Like I'm 5'8" and a half. Like I'm fitting in on all of them rides. No big deal. I might even get weighed off on a couple of the height restrictions. You know what I mean?
You still would have been tall in Asia.
Oh, boom. I've got to go.
Yeah, you need to move to Hong Kong.
I think that's a bad idea at the minute. I don't think there's much left in that one. But like, so you playing football, and then like, did you always have a passion for fight, or
no? It's for fighting come from. It's a funny one because it's very cliche of, I come from a rough end and I was always fighting, but that's a genuine story for me. I come from what was classed as the Bronx of Gateshead, and you were brought up to fight, and but for me it took me away. I mean, everybody who I grew up with is either in prison, a drug addict, or the unfortunate they've passed away, whether that be suicide, whether that be drugs, So I was fortunate enough to have football and a really good family to take me away from that side, and football really got us away from that. And once I was playing football, and I was sort of, my mindset was on football. I had an injury. I got up to 135 kilo, and I walked into the gym just sort of wanting to lose weight. And boxing was support, like the guy behind the desk who's now my manager and coach, Mark's, he owns the gym. Mark Lozelle. He was a pro kickboxer, world champion, and then ended up being a 9-0 pro, fighting for Freddie Roach, and he ended up being Manny Pacquiao's chief sparring partner.
I love that.
But unfortunately, he got a blood clot to his brain and had to stop fighting at 30. You know, so his career was a bit shortened off the back of that. But anyway, he took us in, and I walked into the gym February 2014. I had my first fight July 2014, and I stopped the guy in the second round, and I think for me, I can remember the atmosphere and thinking, wow, what a buzz. You know, I enjoyed it, and the whole drinking aspect for me and partying and stuff, it was never for me because of football. And I was in Chicago when I was 20, left Chicago, come back over here, played for Blythe, and then signed for Hong Kong. And I've never really been one for drinking and partying. So boxing for me, just, you know, I was fully focused, and I had 44 amateur fights within sort of 4 years. Turned professional, had 3 fights within the back of 6 months, and then my last fight was March the 1st, 2020, and then obviously COVID hit, sort of put me into lockdown, and it's knocked us back, you know, 18 months, but it is what it is. Everyone's in the same boat, but for me, I spent that 18 months focusing on myself and concentrating on building me, you know, building me skill set and training every day over lockdown, and it's worked out, obviously, with Sky Sports and Boxer, that, you know,
how buzzing was you when that all got announced?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just, it's just like, I live in an £80,000 council house, and I'm getting picked up in a 200-grand Bentley for the weigh-in. It's still like, it's crazy. I mean, on the Sunday, I'm sitting watching myself on my telly that I haven't, you know, that I'm paying monthly for little ones.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sitting watching myself on Sky Sports on a telly that's costing us 74 quid a month, and if I don't pay, it'll be getting taken off us. It's honest. It's still, it's like I'm just me. And having security pick us up and walking us around a shopping mall that's literally 10 minutes from my house, and all my pals being there, and like asking for photos, and I'm getting messages of Instagram and people saying, "Oh, can you sign this?" And I'm thinking, you see us every day. It's just come to my house, like, well, you don't have to message.
They just saw that geezer sign the microwave, and now that went for like 80 grand, and they went, "Oh, Steve's gonna whip out something." You know, someone's gonna come up to you with a George Foreman and a Sharpie and a positive attitude, and they're just gonna make it, and a mirror, Now we need to discuss this, don't we? Because like we put a poll up on our gram to ask, you know, some questions for the big man, and one of them said, "Ask him about his mirror game, please."
So the mirror game is between me and about 6 lads, and we're going to shops, the range, B&M's, Home Bargains, wherever sells mirrors, and we'll get as many pictures as we can with our, you know, spare parts out in the mirrors without getting caught, and send them in the group chat and see who gets the most mirrors. And I've got the record with 13 at the range. So
I mean, that's a fairly high stakes game. And and obviously we're not doing that in the freezer section at any supermarket, are we? Let's be honest. Like, have you considered taking your own mirrors to certain places just for the next level of bants?
The game is 100% finished for me. Listen, I'm not playing that game and end up on some list and losing my contract. But
could you imagine?
I'm done with that game.
Could you imagine heavyweight prospect USSR Steve has had to unfortunately been let go early from boxer due to the mirror game?
Yeah,
fuming.
I mean, I've even stopped standing outside of school, swapping me panini stickers and everything. I've finished.
Again, for the best.
Yeah,
for the best. I mean, like, there's not that many 6'7", you know, Russian-looking gentlemen lurking around that many normal schools. So again, for the best, and onwards and upwards. So the mirror game is no more, and that's fantastic.
Between the lads, the mirror game.
It lives on. It lives on.
I keep getting threats that, you know, they're going to sell me photos if I make it big. And I've said, listen, I'll sell me photos if I make it big. I couldn't give a shite. It doesn't bother. But they keep threatening us with these things and what have you. But I'm just, like I said before, I'm just me. Like
Yeah.
I'll never
You
change. I'll never become someone. I think I'm someone. I'm just a normal kid, and I'll always just be myself. You know.
See, now I want you to send them Tiger, the urban music artist's OnlyFans, because I think he makes 9 mil a month showing his rig. So, like, if that's the threat, I mean, you'd be
Yeah,
happy with 500 quid a month for that, wouldn't you?
I've 100% set up
You'd
an
be,
OnlyFans. I've sold a couple of pairs of my boxers before, so I don't mind setting up an OnlyFans, no problem.
you know what I mean? Could you imagine having a loyal following that just want to see pictures of your shaft for 5 quid a month,
Yeah.
10 quid a month?
Exactly. No bad comments, no
Yeah,
negativity on YouTube or social media. It's just everyone's in it for one thing, and that's to see me
yeah,
stop looking naked.
yeah. And I don't want to hear the haters like.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be there. You've made your choice. You know that they're not going to be neg on that. They've clicked the button and they want to see.
Subscribe, exactly.
Let's make it
Exactly.
happen. So when are you out next?
So I've unfortunately obviously signed the contract for the 18th of December to box on the Josh Taylor card in Glasgow.
Yeah.
That's been put back to February. Now the British Boxing Board are only allowing 10 fights a show. That the show in Birmingham on the 11th of December is full. But
Yep.
because I live and breathe in the gym, what Sky have said is, listen, be ready. Any injuries, you'll be on the card. So listen, I could find out 3 days before I'm on the card, but
Yep.
I'll be ready. I'm sparring. I'm ready. I'm trained. I was straight back into training on the Monday after my fight. So if a phone call comes on the Wednesday to head down, I'll be there. So hopefully I'll be out on the 11th of December. If not, I'm definitely out on the Glasgow card in February once Josh Taylor's back on from injury. But I want one more before the year's out, definitely.
So we never actually got into it. So you started boxing to lose weight. You went amateur, and now here we are as a pro. Now, you're a big dude, and your style is actually like it's power style, right? I haven't seen you jabbing, moving, and finessing yet. I'm not saying you don't have that in you, but like, are you more driven on like the fan friendly side of things, or are you just like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna collect my check, and then we're gonna do this again in 3 months' time?
There's an expression, you don't get paid overtime in boxing, but listen, at the end of the day, we're heavyweight boxers, and when you're winging shots in, your chin's up, you're leaning forward, and it's a risky style to have, and my first fight, Sean Duffy, I got told not to take that fight. I got told the kid, had 6, won 4, lost 2. He's just been a good prospect, and it was a hard first fight. And I thought to myself, listen, I've just been boxing for England. I've just made an ABA final. I'm not wanting to be mollycoddled at 18-0 against 18 bums. That's not where I'm wanting to go. I'm wanting to get there, stay there, and build my way up. So we fought Sean Duffy, and a minute 20 in, I had knocked him on his arse with a jab. And then obviously the referee jumped in. Second fight, again, it was, people have sort of said, well, we haven't seen this kid's chin tested, we haven't seen a box. Well, yeah, you haven't seen me chin tested, because
I don't want to sub 15 fights, to be honest. As a fan, like there's like this lovely slew of British heavyweights coming through. There's yourself, obviously Fabio's a little bit further down the line. You got Johnny Fisher, you got Frazier looks like he's coming through pretty heavily. Joe Joyce only had 13, 14 fights. Like he's not like, you wouldn't exactly call him a seasoned pro, would you? Like,
for me, Joe Joyce, I honestly can't see anybody beating that bloke.
Really?
Absolutely. So Bacoli and York, I've just signed today to be fighting. Yeah. I want to see Bacoli or York fighting Joe. I want to see him vacate that British, keep the Commonwealth, and fight Tony Yoga or Bacoli for the the winner of that. Then I want to see him stepping up, because honestly, that man is he's just an absolute unit. He's a workhorse. He clearly hits hard. His style is horrendous, but so effective. And I just, honestly, I think he's absolutely phenomenal. I think everything about him, he's, you know, he gets so that Frank Warren give him so little credit for that, you know.
Oh, let me ask you this very quickly, right? If you're him, right, so you batter another domestic rival, you stop him, right? And then old Uncle Frank somehow manages to put the geezer you just beat at WBA #1. You get left in the dark for maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
You'd be fucking livid, wouldn't you?
Oh, listen,
I'd be out.
Well, I can't believe he didn't sign when Nathan Gorman and that all disappeared and signed with the Solon brothers. I don't understand why Joyce stayed with Frank Warren after he come out that ring and said, you know, Dubois be back, Dubois be this, Dubois be that. Not once did he look at Joe Joyce and say, hey, what a performance, man. You took his best shot, you jabbed his head off, you broke his eye socket, unbelievable, well done, there you go, there's my hand, you deserve the credit. All he was talking about is how good Dubois boxed and how unfortunate it was, and he'll come back stronger, he'll do this, he'll do that, and then he gets Dubois fight against a nobody in America, and he's WBO #1.
On an enormous card.
But listen, this is the pull that, you know, Frank and Eddie have got, and hopefully, if Sky have hopefully got that pull, and you know that could happen. That could happen to me.
So Streets and I have spoken about this, to be honest, because like obviously there's like this weird industry thing going on in a minute. We've got the zones, we've got BT Sport, we've got Sky, and then, you know, there'll be like Fight TV and whatever. They're largely they're another thing, right? Sky is still owned by Comcast. Comcast are fucking enormous. If they want to open up the old checkbook, they can. And they can do that at any point. And they've got pockets way deeper than even like the mad Russian oligarch that owns the zone. It's not outside the realm of reason for them to be doing it the other way, where they're just like, no, we got Steve. People love him. The fans love him. Let's sort him like quite nicely out. But with Joyce, he's WBO #1, right? I thought for a little while they were going to make like Fury franchise champion, or maybe the idea of Frank Warren allowing Fury to fight on a DAZN card against White was just going to be like, I can't risk this. So insert Joe Joyce, right? Yeah. But I can't see that now. I just think they're going to do him dirty.
I couldn't agree more. Well, they were saying Joe Joyce and Usyk were going to fight. As soon as Joe Joyce beat Dubois, they were saying him and Usyk are going to fight. Him and Usyk are the next fighters. Blah, 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 blah. Joshua was meant to be fighting Tyson Fury. Usyk was meant to be fighting Joe Joyce, and you know that would have put, obviously the fought in the amateurs, so it would have put themselves in good stead, and you know, and then obviously the Tyson Fury, the Anthony Joshua thing fell through. Usyk ended up getting the fight with Joshua. Now Usyk's champion, so Joe Joyce is 36 and he's getting knocked back and back and back. And where does he go? He's not gonna be. So you know, Tyson Fury's now got to fight Deontay Wilder or Otto Wallen. So that's Dillian Wade. So that's that fight. And then Joshua Usyk have got a rematch. That's March. Then
earliest. I'm going to say that they probably break that out like late April, maybe early May, because they're going to. Eddie's going to want to do that here, and he's going to want to do that in a Wembley.
No, same for Kiev.
Are they done at Kiev now?
It's got to be. Usyk said he's not fighting anywhere other than Kiev, and it looks like it's going to be February 26th. I think it looks like it's signed.
Do you know? Do you know what the temperature in February normally is in Kiev?
I mean, it'd be probably about -20.
-6, mate. Now, we were saying, you know, that them Ukrainians are going to be sitting there in t-shirts, just sipping vodka, listening to like 200 beats per minute fucking side dance trance, just having a good old time.
In a montage, won't it?
That's what I'm saying, right? Hearts on fire for life. Speaking of, which is your favourite Rocky? You can say not 4. Don't worry, you're not bound to that.
It actually probably is 4.
Get it.
Yeah.
I love one. And just the whole how it all starts and showing, you know, that the underdog can get a chance and, you know, they deserve it. And
Yeah.
Anybody, no matter where you are in life and no matter how low you feel, and, you know, it just gives you that inspiration of that anybody can be given that one shot in life. And, you know, his whole life throughout the whole next sort of franchise was changed off the back of that. And I think watching that first Rocky film, it just gives you that motivation of actually, I can do something with my life. And that's not just in boxing, that's in all walks of life. And I think the first one sort of builds you up as a character to say, actually, yeah, I can do something with myself. And then obviously 2, 3, and 4 just builds them up to, obviously, you know, the start to drop off and Sylvester's getting a little bit punch drunk and what have you by the end of it. But I think 1 or 4 is my favourite.
Decent. Now, do you judge? Because I personally, when I met my wife, I met obviously her brother and so forth, and he's a very woke, very nice young man, but he's also a bass player in a reggae band. And he'd never seen any of the Rockies, like an absolute pacifist. And it was like, look, I thought about breaking up with her at that point, just at that point. But what I did, I bought the box set and I'm like, look, even if you have the box set, it's like having a Bible in the side of the hotel room, isn't it? Like, you can't trust anyone that hasn't seen and can tell you intimate details of all of the Rockies. I'm going to go as far to say, include the Creeds, because they're not bad.
Yeah, I like the Creeds again. It's just showing, you know, anybody's got a chance of doing something. But for me, it's if a girl isn't signed up to Disney Plus, bin, fuck off.
I like that.
Disney Plus. If they haven't got Disney Plus, they're not. You know, I'm not going around their house to chill and watch Netflix and watch some shite. It'll be, you know, I'll say to them, have you got Disney Plus? No. Sorry, you know, I'm not Amazon, Netflix. They can have everything else, but if they haven't got Disney Plus, it's a no go for me.
What we saying though? We saying like Mandalorian or Lion King or Loop?
Nah, not Mandalorian. I'm not to be honest, I'm not really a star.
Mate, I did question it, to be honest.
But just going in, and it depends on my mood. Sometimes I might just want to sit and chill, or some Lilo and Stitch, a good up film, or I might just want to go home and have a bit of a cry to Lion King or Beauty and the Beast. Depends on how hard my training session's been. If I've been chin sparring, I just want to go home and watch Marley and me and cry. You
can't, you know, yes, these are the moves of a fucking sociopath. You can't just sit and casually watch Marley and me, mate. That'll fuck up your day.
That's why if I've been chinned and sparring, that's why I just want to go home.
Just get it out.
Just get it out. Just cry. Watch The Notebook. Watch Marley and me. My sisters just something where I can just sit and cry to myself with some Häagen-Dazs or something.
That's something. I mean, if you ever need anyone to spoon you, I'm there.
You're more than welcome.
I like a big man.
Have you got Disney Plus?
Of course I have. Mate, I've got two little girls. Like, I've got Disney Plus, Amazon. I've got the lot. I've got it all.
I've changed. I don't hang outside of schools and hand.
That's fine.
Anymore. Your kids cannot sit and spoon and watch Disney Plus. I can't. I'm saying with Sky now. I've changed. The whole mirror.
I've changed my ways. I don't live the Bant's life no more.
I've changed, man.
So you as a Geordie celeb, and then we got a boy down at our end, the old Romford Bull, Johnny Fisher. Obviously, it makes no sense to have you two even near each other for at least 8, 9 fights. But like, that's north south.
It's do you know what it is? It's pissing us off because people keep tagging us and things of Johnny Fisher and saying you wouldn't stand around with this bloke and tagging me in it. Listen, Johnny Fisher, like I've just said, he's doing what he needs to do. He boxed very well the other night. He's still getting the stoppages in. He's learning just the same as me. Do you know what I mean? And I hate when people tag it. I'll never call anyone out. Listen, that's not my style. That's not me. That's not me as a person. I think anybody who gets in that ring deserves the credit that not these dickheads on social media commenting saying you're shit, you're this, you're that, you're t'other. I know, as I say, the commitments it takes to step through that ring. I know, you become it's such a lonely sport. You miss stag do's, you miss birthday parties, you miss meals out, you miss drinks, you miss your own birthday if you're in camp. Everything is awful. And when people are sitting tagging me on social media, listen, Johnny Fisher, I hope the bloke goes far. I hope he does well. And, he comes across well on TV. He's boxing well. He's learning. And as I say, he's a young kid, and good on him. And as I say, I hope the kid goes far. And if we end up fighting, in 4, 5, 6, 7 fights time for an English, British title, fair play, it happens. But
that's what we want.
For now, I want the kid to do well and go out there and be safe.
To be fair to him, we know Johnny pretty well already. I think he would pretty much say the same thing. He's just a category 1 nice, right? He's polite, he's well spoken, and he's very nice. Like, have you met each other?
No, I was meant to be sparring. I was meant to be down sparring Wardley. A few months back, and then that I think he'd done his back in. As well heading down on the Tuesday. We're going to go down the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I think he was saying there was going to be me and Johnny there, and a couple of others. But obviously, like I say, he ended up hurting his back. But no, I've seen Johnny. I think I seen Johnny at Wembley. He was at the first Boxer show at Wembley. And I seen him there, and we sort of nodded heads to each other, and but as I say, I want the kid to do well. I want Babbage to do well. I like the fact that Babbage is doing it for the normal person, and as I say, these kids coming in the box. But at the end of the day, when we're in that ring together, it's Valhalla. I'm wanting to kill you. I'm wanting to knock you out. You're wanting to knock me out. And that's how it is. But we'll shake hands at the end and watch Disney Plus in the hotel room if they want. I don't mind that.
Guys, I love that attitude because it's. Do you know it's so dry, isn't it? It's like, look, you can have targets, you can have goals and stuff, but like, I like that. It's kind of like respectful. It's very clear. You're a fighter, they're fighters. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I like
Definitely.
it. I like it. Fabs is again like Fabs is a genuinely wicked guy. Like he's super fun. He's fun to watch as well. He's got a different style. Like I think there's just like a really nice British heavyweight period coming through.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the AJ Usyk fight?
I think AJ was being given the wrong tactics. He tried to box a boxer. He couldn't box a boxer. And I think AJ needs to go away, hire a stone and a half on, and just get on Usyk's chest, bully him, throw him around, and show him what a natural 17.5 stone man is all about. And, people forget Usyk. His first fight was at super middleweight. Do you know what I mean? So naturally, he's a 13 stone man. Naturally, stepping up to a 15.5, 16 stone. So when you've got a natural 6'7", 17.5 stone man, he goes up to 19. So just like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, the third fight was one of the ugliest boxing shows I've ever seen. They were just hitting each other, grabbing each other, but Tyson Fury done what he needed to do. He bullied him. He tired him out. Look at how tired Deontay Wilder was in round 4. He stepped up the weight, and you could tell he stepped up the weight. He was absolutely knackered. So in round 5, 6, and that's just because Tyson Fury physically tired him out. Joshua's not going to outbox Usyk. Not going to happen. Usyk's footwork, when you actually watch his foot, he was constantly on the outside of Joshua's. Yep. And Joshua was allowing that to happen and pulling this jab out, just getting caught with that overhand left hand every single time. And on top of him being southpaw, he's an unbelievable boxer. He's a he's a super heavyweight Lomachenko, and he's constantly working on his angles, hitting you, getting out. like Chisora does, he needs to just really, really, really bully him and show him what a real heavyweight is all about. Not be scared about getting knocked out,
I
because I
think that
think
was
it's
a big
apprehensive.
thing, weren't it? It was like
Very,
we did like when we watched it, it was like he got landed on, and I think it hurt him more than what he thought it was. And at
yeah,
that point, I just don't like. There was just something a little bit. There was only one of them that was hurting the other one, and a couple of times that he landed on Usyk took it really well. Like you could see it, he felt it, and he moved off and then come back in. But from your perspective, are you like a bit of a student of the game? Because it sounds a little bit like it. You're talking about like his foot always being out. Do you watch a lot of boxing?
yeah. Well, do you know it come from football? For me, it used to when I used to play football, for instance, and if we got beat one, whatever we got beat, and I would go in the change rooms, and the lads would be laughing and having a laugh and talking about going for a meal or talking about going to the pub. It used to really, really piss me off, and I used to
Mm.
say, how can you be talking about going on the piss tonight? We've just been beat, and you are enjoying yourself, and I would go home and I'd either watch the game back, or I'd be thinking, right, because I was a goalkeeper, I'd be thinking, why did that happen? Did I not talk? And I'd just talk myself through for two,
Mm.
2, 3 days. And it's the same as with boxing. Like, I've boxed three and a half minutes apart
Yeah.
from the Phil Williams fight. So
Yeah.
really, have I got a lot to watch? They're on YouTube, and they're on the MTK Global shows. But when I'm watching myself, I'll sit and I'll watch myself 20, 30, 40 times, and I'll look at my footwork. And when I'm watching boxing, I'll look at the footwork, and that's just me.
Mm.
And I'm for me to sit and call somebody who's at the top of the game and who's learned. I'll never sit and call Anthony Joshua for the way he performed, because he just got beat off on the night. But what I would have done if I was Anthony, I'll be coming home and I'll be putting on a stone and a half and just bullying him and risking tiring out. But like he did against Klitschko, he tired out in the fourth, but then he come back in the sixth.
Mm.
And he done it. He's done it a few times where he has tired out. But if his tactics are right and he gets on his chest and he shows him and he leans on him and he throws him about and he bullies him, I think he can get the win.
Yeah. I mean, I think he wins the rematch. I don't know if that's like the heart saying it or the brain. I think he wins the rematch. I just think there's that interview that he did with IFL. He seemed very, very focused.
Yes, yeah, he did, and he's I think he's realised that there's too many dickheads in boxing who, the I think like anything, you just have to look at the poor kids who have ended up taking their own lives off the back of Love
Mm.
Island, and Jesse off Little Mix deciding to leave Little Mix. Social media and these comments that you get, if you let them get to you, they're absolutely horrendous what they can do to you. For me, I just don't read them. I couldn't give a shite about them. But Joshua's obviously taken them and just
Mm.
thought, yeah, screw this. I'm showing. I'm getting rid of McCracken. I'm getting this. I'm doing this, and I'm going there and showing. I'm not having any. But listen, the kids being dragged up in London. He got kicked off the GB team for being caught with cannabis. He's obviously a bit of a wrong'un. He knocks
Yeah.
about. He knows people. He's from a rough area, and the kid's probably thinking, I'm not being mugged off of anybody. I'm coming and I'm showing what I'm about on this next fight, and that's what it showed on that IFL TV. I think he was really pissed off with everything and all the comments and people, messaging and leaving bad reviews and what have you. And I think he's just thought, right, it's my time to show them what I'm about.
Imagine his DMs like after that fight. Imagine the dark place that is. Like, would you reckon it is 3-1 people calling him shit as opposed to like you fought well there, champ. Let's get it in the rematch.
100%. I mean, even me, even me,
I
the
was gonna
part of it,
ask you like, what do you like? Do you because you're like at least you're funny and you're bants with it, and you, like you said, you're you. You got a fucking Simba tattooed on your pec. You know what I mean? Like we know what this is, but do you get a lot of shit as well?
Oh, all the time. I mean, do you know what annoys me? It upsets me, mum. That's why. That's what gets me. And I keep saying, "Well, stop reading in the comments, man.
Yeah.
Stop reading the comments because you're getting. I don't read them, and I got message the other day, and it was like, I hope your unborn child dies, and I was like, what?
What?
Somebody's physically getting the phone and type that message and what's
Yeah.
going through their head. And as I say, listen, if Johnny Nelson or Carl Frock come up to us after the end of the fight, or Macklin, and said, listen, that was shit. You done this, you done that. I'd go, fair play. I'll go away and I'll learn from it and I'll practice on something and I'll do what I need to do. But when you've got some dickhead sitting with a bag of Doritos and a pint of Carlin sitting on the laptop, typing in as I'm fighting, this is I've seen better fights in a car park. His footwork's wrong, his chin's up. I just think, right, fair enough, but who are you to comment that? If you're a boxing connoisseur and you're a genuine, person who's been to the top, fair enough, tell us. And I'll take it on the chin. I'll say, yeah.
Yeah, but they're going to tell you in a very different way. They're not. That's the difference. So I just don't. Like, I don't get. I mean, what can you reply with? You either, if you see it and don't reply, you're not feeding into it. But it would equally be as fun as just like, what's your address?
To be honest, some I do reply to. Like, I got one the other day, and I reply. He message saying, "Your shit" or something, and I was just like, "Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks for the follow. I won't be following back," or just something like that. And
I mean, that's all. That shuts it down.
Yeah, getting into an argument and what have you with people. Like, I purposely turn comments off on me post because it'll be, I'll not even get into. Someone will write something like your shit, and one of my pals will write, yeah, but your mom's shit, and then one of my other pals will write, and then it just becomes, I've got 184 messages of them arguing with each other, and it just looks bad on my post, and I just think I'm turning them off because then you can't argue with each other. You can't, anybody can write anything, and I just think, oh, listen, let them messages, let them do. Nobody gets to see it, and then what their opinion means absolutely nothing to me. But
no,
if their opinion did mean something to us, and it was from a genuine person, then I'd hold my hands up and thank them for their opinion, and I'd work on something that that they were offering.
So as a prospect and a relatively new to the game fighter in this era, the Boxer and Sky give you help with that stuff? Do they have social media people?
No. They've obviously, again, I already come on social media 2 years ago, and again, I'm just myself. Like, I'll do daft Disney spin quizzes, and I'll post daft things, and I'll until they messages and say, listen, stop doing that. I'll just keep doing daft things and having. Do you know what I mean? I don't. So for instance, they had asked us the other day why I haven't applied for my blue tick, and I said because I don't need it, I don't want it, I don't care about it. I didn't even care about. I haven't got Facebook, I haven't got Twitter, I've got Instagram because Mark, my manager, said, listen, you need to make an Instagram account. I've done that, but when it comes to, I'd much rather live in the past where I turn my internet off at about 6 o'clock at night and I keep it off.
In your defense, Straits, he DM'd me to say, are we good for tonight? I turn my internet off. Here's the number. And I was just like, nice. I was like, sick, decent. Decent. I mean, but that's just how you have to do it now, because they're just some of the stuff that we get on our account, which has got like 1,200 followers, is pretty wild. Depending on like what you'll see now is that when we put the stuff up of this episode here, the people that like you that see it obviously would just be like wicked. The people that don't like you, like you said, they're the ones that pop up in the comments and in the DMs, and it's just like, mate, would you like? I've just spoken to the geezer for an hour for the first time ever. What do you want me to say? You know what I mean? Like, he was good enough to give us his time. I'm not going to agree with you, guy. And Streets just hunts him and fights him. Just loves it.
I say, I just don't understand it. But it's the same people who, you know, they'll post a picture of the social media saying, "Oh, get behind Caroline Flack, get behind Gary Speed, get behind, you know, Robin Williams. We need to get behind mental health and do it for Mind Charity." And they'll be the same people who are posting all that shit, who are sending, you know, messages, sitting calling you and doing this and doing that. And it's just crazy because, as I say, it does really, fortunately for me, you know, I'm very, I mean, I remember I used to go sparring and people used to say, it was like, "Are you stoned? Or do you get stoned?" And I used to say, "No, I'm just the most laid back person you'll ever come across. I don't get nervous. I don't get worried." But so for me, when these people are messaging us, I just take it with a pinch of salt, but it genuinely gets to people. And it's such an unfortunate thing that, you know, with mental health at the current climate and with there not being enough help out there, that there's still these dickheads who are forcing people to leave bands or take their own lives, or even not celebrities, even just normal people, you know, who someone might think's ugly, or someone might take the piss out the colour of the hair or the shape of the face, and to send that message, to take the time out of the day to send a message to someone about their appearance or about, you know, what they've chosen to do in life. It's just sad and unfortunate. And, you know.
What about when an Instagram girl has put like a Bible quote, but it's actually just a picture of their cheeks in a thong?
Yeah. The ones that get me is when they go, "Oh, missing you, you'll be dancing with the angels tonight." They can't even spell angel.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's huge.
Yeah, they'll take a picture standing there with their legs up that they're on holiday and be like, "Oh, so we're doing this for mental health. What are you doing for mental health?" Yeah, sitting in Marbella with a bottle of Veuve Clique that you've just
someone else's bottle of Clique that you've just poured other stuff in.
Boyfriend's funded.
Right. So, from like, what's the first strap that you want to get? You want to go for it? Like, do you have I'm getting the British at all costs world? Like, I need to know where your aspirations are set.
Yeah, it's hard because I've just said to you before, I walked in a boxing gym to lose weight, and everything that's happening to me now is as I said at the start of the podcast, I'm sitting in a Pebble Dash Dirty Grand Council house with a gas fire and a TV from Littlewoods, sitting on a second-hand sofa. It's like all of this just is way beyond any dream or aspiration. And when I sit and say it to people, when I sit and do quotes, or I'll post TikToks of, you know, anybody can do anything with the right mindset. I think I'm a big believer of, you need the right people around you, you need the right team around you, because if I didn't have the right team around me during lockdown, I would have been gone. I would have been getting a full-time job. Listen, I've got no GCSEs. I left school knowing that I was going to be a professional footballer. Unfortunately, injuries happened. And, you know, I know I'll be in a 9 to 5 on £8.50 an hour. I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know. But so everything that's happening to me now is just like way beyond any dream. You know, it's just, as I say, I'm getting picked up. I'm getting picked up off a Bentley. I'm getting walked around my local shopping mall off security. And I've listen, if I ended up getting an English, British, or, you know, or an interim title, it would just be absolutely unbelievable. If I get to turn the Christmas lights on, I've texted the local mayor. I live in a village with around about 400 council. There's 400 council houses, and the local Christmas lights are the shittiest lights you've ever seen. But I've emailed the mayor asking if I can, you know, turn them on, and that was that.
Maybe buy a couple of extra sets from like Homebase just to zhuzh it up a little bit, and just like call that a donation from the big man.
I'll personally buy a
Yeah.
giant Christmas tree for Blade in Precinct, because it honestly, like, even just something as daft as that, it's just like everything that's happening at the minute is just crazy. So if wherever I end up, every step is just a new dream, a new sort of sense of aspiration of anybody can do anything, and work hard, have the right mindset, have the right team around you, and anything can happen. Any dream can come true if you put your mind to it.
Is there anyone that, this is not a call out, but is there anyone out there that you're just like, I would love to fight them?
Mark Demori. I've asked Sky on my fourth fight. He's ranked 11th in the WBC, right? And he is absolutely shitter than shit. He's paid his way to be ranked 11th. He's one below Andy Ruiz Jr. He's fought the same journeyman 3 times. And Mark Demori, if anybody who knows Mark Demori, I've just said I don't call people out, but I want Mark Demori. And I really, he's ranked 11th in the WBC, and he is absolutely horrendous. And funny enough, I messaged Ben Shalom today, the owner of boxing, and I said, listen, on my 4th fight, I've signed a 6-fight contract, four fights at one wage, and then the next 2 fights it goes up.
Yeah.
But on my 4th fight, I want Mark Demori. And whether it be for whether there's a European that's vacant at the minute, regardless whether it's for a title or not, he's someone that I want.
It's just wound you right up, is it?
When the rankings come out today, and I seen he was ranked 11th, and I watched him fight the other day against an absolute nobody, and I just thought, where do these rankings come from? Where do people, like I said,
normally from their new extension or their new balcony or whatever it is looking over? Because the geezer that David Hayes' best mate, who he fucking jabbed his face off for what, £4 million a couple of weeks ago. Like, I mean, who's that guy?
He was ranked in the top 10.
He had like a one of the many WBA interim Wednesday champ belts, and it's just like, oh. Okay. What is he? He's like 11-1 and 11 knockouts, and you're like, well, okay.
But there was that American geezer who was meant to be fighting Dave Allen, who was like 14-0, 14 knockouts, and then he fought. I can't remember his name, and he fought somebody. And who was it again? He was ranked 14. He was meant to be the next big thing, and he was meant to be fighting Dave Allen.
I don't know.
And then
the Kofi.
Nah.
There was like a big heavyweight upset a couple of weeks ago, weren't it? It was quite recent.
I know Hilarious beat the same bloke twice. My mind's gone blank. I need food. But it's So these
now, what did Ben say to that? Did Ben say, "Let me get on the phone"?
So I also said, get his Milena as well. Like after Babbitt the other night. I mean, listen, for me, as I say, Sky have got a path, and they're working well to build us up, and they're doing the right thing for us. So I need to stay grounded. Listen, as I just said before, anywhere where I end up. If I can get a house off the back of this,
amazing,
and just become a household name in the own, in base, and show other people that you can do something, then I'm going to do a talk in a school next Tuesday.
Are you really?
And I'm keeping clothes on though. I'm a tune. I'm not too
for the best, and we won't be taking part in November because that moustache is going to do you no favors.
I've never shaved in 30 years. I kind of grow a mustache, so I've even got leg hair. Look at the state of but no, like I'm going to do a talk in a school, like, and it's just like it's just crazy that I'm going to be sat in front of however many kids telling them, just because for me, I was kicked out. I was kicked out in the end, year 10.
Okay.
no GCSEs, and what can I tell them? It's you know, just stick. What am I going to say? Just be a little shit, but work hard at the sport, and you'll do something. But at the same time, you know, I am a big believer of just follow your dream, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just a normal kid from the street, from the block, just following my dream and making. Hopefully, someone will be watching my journey, going, oh well, I'm going to apply for that new job at work. I'm going to ask that woman out. I'm going to ask my girlfriend. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to join a club. You know, whether it be football, whether it be cricket, and just take away the thought of I want to do it and just do it.
Now, when you do this school talk, will you be in an ankle-length fur coat with a T-shirt that says "local celebrity"?
Probably just nothing on underneath, and then just one of them bean jackets. Just sit with me bean mask on. Hello, children.
Yeah, that's a vibe, and that's a serious look. That if they don't listen, then there's no hope.
Yeah. I think if I just go in dressed as Bean, they'll sort of bounce off that, and I'll talk like Bean. I'll do a Bean impression. I might even shave my hair and just go over the full. Like you said, I need, you know, if I'm going in as Club Alang, I need to go over the full shebang. I'm just, you know, there's no point in going and doing things half-hearted. Yeah,
Streets. We discussed early on that, you know, Ivan Drago is pretty sick, but do you know what would really be good for the Boxer Ben Shalom marketing team is if he decided to now be Club Alang and commit to it all of the way. especially with the rather, you know, politically correct vibe of Sky.
Oh, yeah. Did you talking about politically correct? So Sky Sports were fighting in Newcastle the day the takeover happened. The takeover happened on the Wednesday, and our weigh-in was at St James's Park on a Thursday. So I messaged Sky and I said, "Oh, can I wear a Saudi outfit?" They were like, "No chance, absolutely no chance." I was like, "Well, come on, like, why not? You had 14,000 people at the stadium when the takeover happened, 9 o'clock at night, dressed as Saudis." I was like, "It'll be great." They were like, "Nope, absolutely no chance." And then even the Newcastle kit, they were like, you know, it might cause a little bit of, you know, you're fighting somebody from Manchester. I'm like, "Oh, piss off! I'm wearing my Newcastle top."
They are, yeah. We've heard stories like we got a social media. I don't know, what is he? He's a thing. He's an entity. We got a social media entity that used to work for Sky, and he said that like during Gay Pride week / month that they wanted the fighters to have like rainbow soles on their boots, and we're like, oh, like, but the only way you'd see the sole of the boots if it's gone wrong
is if it get knocked out.
Yeah. So
my favorite bit was when he started. He tried to bring some of that Sky stuff to us. It's like, nah, bro.
Yeah, he told me I can't make jokes about the Jews, and I was like, well, what else is there?
That's probably because the owner of Boxer is Jewish. So
yeah, well, it's just like Bants, though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, of course it is, but unfortunately, we're in a stage where this whole political. I remember it was so we went down to sign the contract, and I went down and Sky were like, "Oh, by the way, Stephen, you know, now you're Boxer Sky and what have you. If you want, we can offer you 50% off." I says, "Fuck that! I pay 65 quid. I've got IFL TV." But obviously, I realised that I had said something wrong because every tumbleweed just went flying through the office, and everyone just looked at us, and I was like, "Oh, I'm only joking. I'm only messing. I haven't really." I says, they were like, "Oh, so do you want that 50% off?" And I was like, "No, I don't really. I just watch Disney Plus."
Yeah, I've got Disney Plus, and I'm on my neighbour's Wi-Fi. I don't need this.
Yeah.
Do you not think that maybe being, you know, a 6'7" professional heavyweight fighter, and like, you know, maybe using a little bit of colourful language might have really put the wind up the media cabbages? Would they just be like,
Listen, I've already said if boxing doesn't work out, I'm going to be the first transgender heavyweight champion. Listen, I'm telling you now, I know that I will be unbelievable in the next Olympics in female boxing. I know. Fine,
Oh,
well, I'll
mate.
get a gold medal.
This is a
I'm putting
solid plan
bets on
B.
now.
Yeah, this is a solid plan B. How about plan C? Do you remember like Butterbean had a 4-round heavyweight world title that he defended about 50 times? Maybe becoming the 4-round world champ.
Yeah, could do the two round transgender champ. So it's got a bit of a ring to it. I've looked at chess boxing. I'm
obviously
learning
not.
chess as we speak. But I think for me, I think the transgender thing is the main focus. If boxing doesn't work out, but listen, boxing's going to work out.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But if it doesn't, let's talk about the transgender thing, right? So what? What size implants would you do? Would you go Brazilian? Would you get the bum implants as well?
Well,
Are we going full Caitlyn, or are we like keeping our options open?
I don't know about the tits because I'm worried that it looks like Baloo will have had a stroke or something. If my boobs get too big, then me Disney tattoos.
No. Wait. Because it'll start out as Simba the Cub, but then when you get the triple E's put in, that's Mufasa.
I think yeah, possibly. But what's Baloo gonna look like?
Baloo's gonna look like that massive bear that used to live in like Alaska.
Bigfoot.
The one, yeah, or Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Who you got on your chest? Or Bigfoot and the Hendersons?
Yeah. It's Harry and the Hendersons for life. That was so G.
Yeah. But no, I don't think I'd get arse implants.
No.
Boobs, I think I'd go for a nice 34D. And unfortunately, I cannot grow hair, so I don't need a Brazilian or anything. I don't have to do anything about the hormone treatment about not growing hair because I haven't got any body hair anyway, so I'm all right with that side of things.
I mean, I'm a little bit jealous because like I've got loads of body hair, but none on my head, which is very rude. Suboptimal. But yeah, well, to be honest, I think this podcast, this interview has peaked with the idea of the 6'7" Dolph Lundgren maybe being a female. You'd look like Gabby. Do you know who Gabby Garcia is?
Nah.
She's this. Imagine Princess Fiona if you gave her a roid cycle.
Right.
That's Gabby Garcia, mate.
The look I'm going for is, have you seen Kick-Ass?
Yeah.
Do you know the big Russian of Kick-Ass 2?
Yeah.
The big Russian woman. That I think I'm not sure, but I think that's my real mom. But I don't know because
I could see that.
I feel a bit rude going and asking me mom. So if anybody who's watching this hasn't seen who I'm, just Google Kick-Ass 2 Russian woman, and you'll see who I'm going to go. That's who I'm going to look like.
I'm about it.
Also Google XNXX Russian woman as well, and you'll see the same. You'll see the same woman. That's me mom. You'll see me mom. If you Google XNXX Russian woman, you'll see me mom.
I mean, we've covered so much. We've covered the mirror game, which was huge. Me and you will talk about that later, Streets.
It is huge. That's what.
Yeah. Restriction of the mirror game due to success and signing contracts.
Yeah.
Flipping genders, because gender is a construct. Reality is a suggestion.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, and some boxing, but it wasn't. We didn't really want to keep it that focused on that, and I don't want to. Boxing's boxing. You punch someone in the face, you punch them in the belly, they fall down. Whatever.
Yeah. It's boring. It's the same questions day in day out. So. You know, who do you see yourself fighting? Where do you see yourself? It's all good, but when you're doing an hour of that, it becomes a bit monotonous. So it's good just to talk about,
silicon titties,
the finer things in life. And it's true and it's real. Like me saying that I want to fight Anthony Joshua in 5 fights isn't real. Me saying that I want to fight Ronda Rousey in 7 fights is real. That's a fight that could happen.
Fact. And she's been retired for a bit, so I reckon you bang her out.
Well, she'll come out of retirement.
She'll come out of retirement for this because she thinks it's easy work. I'm going to leave you with a seed, right? I'm sure this has come up. Has anyone asked, can we make a parody video of the Rocky IV training scene, but like down at the local, Pure Gym or whatever, and make it like just so unbelievably shit, but with loads of effort put in?
When it starts to snow, I think that's something that we need to do. You'll probably not get snow that far down south, so you would
It's
have
not
to
often.
come
We get like grey sludge that ruins everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you will get much of snow, but I think that's something that we should work on when it pisses down with snow. Yeah, I think we could do something like that and just make an absolute diabolical rocky training montage. But
Do you know what would be wicked? If you went into any pub that's got one of those punch machines and like verbatim did the press conference from Rocky 4 when it's like Ivan punches at 1850, but you kind of but you miss it sort of as well, and it just does like a smooth 400 and falls back out again. That's for G's. That's like viral gold.
Yeah, was literally with Dolph 2 hours ago, so this is such a trip being.
Oh yeah, will you do us a favor when you're next with him? Will you message him and just say, I need me CSA. My mum need listen. He's fucking 30. He's really. He said to me, mum, he was going to the shop 30 years ago and he's never come back. Like I need him to pay his way. He's we're living in a council house. He's dating a 24-year-old with millions of pounds in the bank. Tell him just to look after his son. Stop
chilling in mobs, living his best life. What the fuck's the geezer doing?
When I'm sitting watching the telly that I'm paying 84 quid a month for from Littlewoods, all I'm asking for is the contact us and give him a couple. Just give us a Christmas present. Give a bit of daddy motivation of listen, son. You can do this, but unfortunately, it's not something that he's ever done for us. So it'd be nice for you to just get him the messages, please.
Could you imagine if you like just interact with him at some point, just at somewhere, any event, and you run up to him and just go, "Daddy!" and jump onto him, giving it like the flying monkey to hang off of him?
I think if I ever do see him, I'll be like when Buddy the Elf sees his dad for the first time. I'm in a store and I'm singing. Hey Dad. I think I'll go full Buddy Elf on him and just really, really worry him and think, what the fuck's this bloke doing?
I would equally like if he just looks you up and down head to toe and says, "You don't look like me," and walks off.
Yeah, I'll just knock him out.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much, man. We'll get you back on if you're up for it before your next fight.
Definitely, anytime. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, guys. Amazing talking, brother.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mate.
Bye bye.